Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic Record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Join me every week. I release new episodes every Tuesday. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome to episode 82. Thank you for listening, everyone. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. I'm excited this week to talk about spirit guides. I feel like they've been coming up, and I just wanted to offer my opinion, my perspective. And again, this is just my opinion and perspective. So if you believe something differently, I don't think anything is right or wrong. It's just what makes sense for you. But yeah, we're going to talk about that today. And I do have an exciting update from last week. So I was able to figure out who the spirit was that was throwing dimes in my house. I received a beautiful email from one of my Reiki students that was in the class that weekend saying that it was her daughter and that the way that it was hiding behind the Buddhas, the dime that I found just like perfectly made sense for her. And it was like such a sign. So that really gave me the tingles and the shivers, and I love when just spirit sends signs and symbols that way. Not that I forget, but it's just so beautiful. When I was reading her email, I got full body shivers. I was like, oh my God, yes, it was her. And just the way everything aligned, it was so beautiful. So just here to remind you, your loved ones are around. They don't go anywhere. And they can still send you signs and symbols. Just ask for it. She actually said that she had a mediumship reading the week before, and the medium said she would show her a symbol through, she didn't specifically say a Buddha, but through peace. So we both thought that was really beautiful. Spirit is powerful and lovely, and it always just warms my heart, I guess is the best way to say it. So for this week's episode, I'm going to pull 2 cards. So I always ask, what do the listeners need to know? What do we need to know this week? Or whenever you listen to this episode. So it's always interesting. I get messages sometimes on Instagram afterwards being like, oh, I listened to this episode, weeks after, but the card was just what I needed to hear. And I always think, perfect. Like that's when you needed to hear the episode. That's when you needed to hear the message. So if you aren't following along on Instagram and Facebook, come follow me at Medium in the Middle. We make a lot of jokes over there. By we, I mean me. So it's a lot of fun. And if you want to book an appointment with me, themediuminthemiddle.com. I offer distance Reiki, Akashic Records, and PSYCH-K. Currently, all Reiki is sold out, my friends. More is coming in July and August. And thank you for filling up these courses. But right now, we are full. As soon as I have more, you will know. All right, I want to pull a card before I do announcements, but I guess I just did announcements. So first I'm going to pull from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light Oracle deck. I haven't pulled from this in a few weeks, so let's see. Okay, I pulled this card and I immediately said, ooh. It's card Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? You are here for a reason. You are being called to bravely pave a path. Have you answered your highest and deepest calling? Living a heart and soul-led life is not all fluffy and smooth sailing. Living a heart and soul-led life requires courage to triumph over fear. So often our fears are gatekeepers to our greatest gifts. Ooh, this topic has come up a lot this week in records. Okay, back to the card. And the more resistance we have towards answering a call, the more important it is to our soul's growth. Sometimes fear is an indication that we are facing the right way. Ooh, this card is really good, especially what we're going to be talking about today. Joan of Arc was known for her courage and her famous line, "I'm not afraid, I was born to do this." But the thing about courage is that it is not possible without fear. So if you are feeling afraid, what is needed is courage. And courage comes from living from the heart. Yes! Think of your fears as opportunities to expand rather than things that are holding you hostage. If you look at your fears in this light, then, as uncomfortable as it might feel, it's actually a sign that you are on the right track. Very interesting, Warrior Woman. I like this card. I haven't pulled it before. Okay, I was going to pull a second card from a second deck, but I think we need a second card from this deck. So I'm going to shuffle one more time and pull a second card. Okay, so the Warrior Woman card was followed by Get Grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. You are being called to get grounded, to ensure that your luminous field is clear and that your inner well is full. If you're not grounded, it's all too easy to get swept up in other people's energy and mistake it for your own. Oh, I hope all my Reiki students are listening to this. Your boundaries will become blurred as you are absorbing the energies around you and struggling to define what is their stuff and what is yours. Yes. If you pulled this card, you're very likely an empath or a highly sensitive person and need time alone to fill up your well. Balance your energy and get grounded. There are two types of people: those who draw their energy from others and those who draw their energy from within. Reflect on which one you are and carve out time each day to ensure your well is being replenished. Being sensitive is a superpower, but like all powers, it needs to be nurtured in order to be fulfilled. It's easy to get swept up in the high-frequency energies that are swirling around the planet. The quickest and most effective way of clearing all this from your field is to ground yourself by connecting with Mother Earth. There are many ways to get grounded. One of the most powerful ones is to practice earthing by connecting to the power of Mother Earth. Spend time in nature, put your hands on a tree, your palms are an extension of your heart chakra, or walk barefoot on earth. Ooh, get grounded. Okay, this is such a good card, and I've been teaching a lot of Reiki. So we've been talking about this a lot in my Reiki courses. And I always say to my students, like, yes, guys, I talk about this on Instagram a lot about how I know what I need to get grounded after I teach. You know I need my rain stick. I know I need a walk. I know I need lots of water. I know I need a long shower. But I didn't know that at the beginning. I had to figure it out. And it was kind of like an onion where it's layers and layers and layers of like, okay, I need one more thing. Okay, I need one more thing. And that's so important when you are an empath or when you are sensitive to other people's energies to be aware of what's yours and not yours. Boundaries are so important. Which leads me into this month's meeting in the middle, boundaries, how to set spiritual and personal boundaries. And we're going to talk about how to do it because I feel like we talk about boundaries all the time and it's like, yeah, I know I need a boundary, but like, what does that mean? How do I do it? So if you're interested, join me this month. It's the last Thursday of the month. We are meeting for 1 hour. You can register on my website at themediuminthemiddle.com. If you are an iTunes user, I would love and appreciate a rating and a review. You can just scroll down and leave 5 stars and a little review. I really appreciate it, and it really helps me out in the podcast world. Okay, so let's get into what are spirit guides, how do you meet them, all of the things about spirit guides. So what are spirit guides? So you have a team of people who are here to support you through, Court Burns says this all the time, Earth School. And I just love that term because it so makes sense. So you have a team here of people that are here to support you through Earth School. And it's very interesting because we can call on them when we go through the Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records, like who holds your records, are your masters, teachers, and loved ones. And your teachers are here to help you learn lessons. Your masters are, you could think of it like your spirit guides, and then your loved ones are your past loved ones. But when it comes to spirit guides, they are souls, beings, angels who are here to support you. Now, they don't give you answers. They don't even point you in the right direction, I would say. Sometimes they do, but they're here to ask you like the good, hard questions. They're around to support you. They're around to help you through life, but they don't always give you the answer. They're kind of like help you figure out the answer on your own, I find. But yes, everyone has spirit guides. Yes, you can have more than one, and you might not know them. You might not have met them, but that's okay. If you want to get to know them, you can do like different meditations. You can wait till they appear to you. I think mine started about a few years ago. I met my spirit guides. I had 2. And then I met the 3rd one later on. So different ones can come in and out. I will tell you about my spirit guides later on. And it's very interesting. Some people feel like their spirit guides are people. Some feel like they're angels. Some feel like they're ancestors. Some feel like they're animals. Like everything is going to be very different, which is why you can't have kind of any expectation or anything in regards to who yours will be, what their names will be, what they'll look like, how they'll show up for you, how they'll communicate with you. The Akashic Records are always saying, when people ask, how do I connect more with my guides? They always use a reference of, it's not a phone line. It's not like, bring, like spirit guide, you there? And then spirit guide's like, yeah, hi. Then you say, hi, like I have this question. And they say, oh, hi, yeah, here's the answer. Then you say, okay, thanks, bye. And they say, bye. It's more like, bring. Hello? Spirit guide, are you there? Are you there? Yeah, we're here. Okay, I have a question. What do you think? Do you have the answer? Could you help me? And then maybe like 2 weeks later, you get a sign that maybe supports you in your answer. So how they communicate with you is very different. Everyone is going to have their own. But if you want to meet your spirit guides, I know that you can do different workshops. I know a medium named Bree has one where it's like she guides you through meeting your spirit guides. I know that you can do different specific meditations that allow you to meet your spirit guides. They might just appear to you in a dream. They might just come to you at a certain time, and they kind of come and go. So I wanted to talk about my spirit guides and just offer what little I know about this subject, but the experience that I've had with it. So I had 2 spirit guides, and they looked like angels. Like they are wearing like a white sheet, and they kind of have wings, but not really, but they look very angelic. And they always stand as like this big golden archway, and it's 2 doors. And the one stands, her name's Karen. Karen like lays on top of the archway. That's the 2 doors. And then Susan stands always to the right of the 2 doors. And whenever I like kind of think about them or call on them, or whenever they appear, they always appear like that on these archways of these 2 doors. And the doors have always been closed. And Susan's kind of funny, and she like will laugh at me and make jokes. She's the one that stands. And then Karen, she just looks at me. And she just looks at me and she never says anything. And just depending on how she looks at me, I know what's going on. And it's very interesting. So I had just had those 2 for a while. And then one day I thought I was actually channeling someone else's spirit guide, but it ended up being my own. And Joe appeared. And Joe is a spirit guide who kind of looks like, he doesn't look like Aladdin, but he has like a pointed beard on his chin, and he has a mustache, and he's like this young guy who kind of looks like Aladdin. And he stands like much closer to the screen, I guess you would say, like where Karen and Susan are, it's like farther away. And one day the gates that Karen and Susan were standing by opened up, and behind the gates were like a meadow. And they were like, go through the gates. And I was like, no. And they were like, go through the gates. And I was like, no, thank you. And then Joe appeared, and Joe's like, go through the gate. And I was like, no, thank you. And anyways, I've only gone through the gate a few times, but what's through the gate is like more psychic information. Like that's kind of like I'm walking into the future almost, or I'm walking into like energies of the future. So I don't walk through the gates very often. I've tried a few times to be like, okay, what's here? But a very interesting thing. So Joe stands at the front, and he's kind of sassy. So I don't use my spirit guides often because I normally know what they're going to say, or I normally know what they're going to like hunch at me to do. So when I do like need their help, and I'm like, hey guys, like I need your help, they always like, well, Joe specifically, he always like pretends to be dusty, and he like will dust off his shoulders, and he'll like pat himself, and dust will come off everywhere. And he'll be like, oh, now you need us. Oh, now you're calling on us. Like, oh, now is when you want to. And I'm always like, oh, like, come on, don't give me a hard time. Like, just tell me the answer. Help me out here. And it's very interesting because it's almost like it's a camera. So Joe's standing closer to the camera, and sorry, his name is actually Mo. And I've been saying Joe. I think I'm so used to giving everyone a fake name. My spirit guy's name is Mo, not Joe. He's like literally rolling his eyes at me right now. Sorry, Mo. So Mo, who looks like Aladdin. Anyways, so Mo's standing close to the camera, and the 2 ladies are behind with this archway that's opened, and behind the archway is a meadow. In front of the archway, it looks like heaven. Like it looks like clouds and the archway is gold. Like I think it's heaven. Anyway, so I never walk through the archway, like very, very rarely. And that's how they always appear. And Susan just stands there and she kind of just like moves her hands. She doesn't talk very often. Mo talks the most and Karen never talks. She just like looks at me or folds her arms or rolls her eyes at me. But I've gotten to know what they mean, what they're saying, what I meant to be understanding. So I just want to tell you, if you're having a hard time meeting them, if you're having a hard time understanding them, it's kind of up to you to learn their language. Again, the Akashic Records will talk about this a lot. Like, we learn English, we know English, and then your spirit guides speak French, so you got to learn French, you got to learn what they're saying, and you got to learn what you're saying. And then when spirit comes in, it's like they're speaking a third language, so it's a lot of languages being mixed up here. But as soon as you learn the language, you're like, oh, okay, I know what Karen means when she rolls her eyes. And like, I know what Mo means when he's pretending to be Dusty. So I also wanted to talk about how your spirit guides can show up at different times. So I only had Karen and Susan for a while. And when I picked up Mo, I actually thought he was someone else's spirit guide. And it wasn't until he like stuck with me that I was like, oh, like, are you mine now? Like, are you this addition? And he was like a good sassy addition. So I feel like your spirit guides are always what you need them to be, and they can change. You can have 1, you can have 10. But if you are looking to kind of get to know your spirit guides, I would recommend getting quiet, tuning in, and maybe try a meditation. Maybe see if they pop up. Maybe see if you kind of have someone that's been guiding you your whole life that is maybe a spirit. Maybe it seemed like kind of an imaginary friend around you. But I find spirit guides very interesting and very helpful. And I like to hear about other people's experience with spirit guides. So very, very cool. This is just like a little sprinkle of spirit guides. We could probably get into this for a while, but I am not the expert in this at all. So I just wanted to offer what I know, what I think about it. I've learned a lot through the Akashic Records, which has been very interesting. We're forever students, right? I'm always saying this. We are forever students. I'm not the expert on spirit guides. If I find someone that is, I will bring them on the podcast to talk about this further. But there's my little info about my team, and I hope you have a team. I hope you meet your team, and if you haven't yet, just ask. Ask who's up there helping me. You know, we all have helpers. We can't do Earth School alone. So that is this week's episode, a little quick one about spirit guides, what I think about mine, how you can find yours. I'm really excited because next week, it won't be next week's episode, but next week, me and Taita have a mediumship reading with a medium named Bree. So it'll for sure be an episode, but it will probably not be next week's episode. So I'm very excited to come on the podcast and share that with you guys. If you want to follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Medium in the Middle, any appointments with me, themediuminthemiddle.com. And if you haven't already, press that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? We release new episodes every Tuesday. All right, guys, thanks for listening. I am Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle, and I will see you in your ears next week. Bye, guys.